Suppose I would like to construct a frequency distribution table for this data, the number of our students who study every week, and I want it to be group data, which means I want to group a number of values in each class. So in this case, the first step is actually to look at the highest value and the lowest value. So I need to tell the lowest value, which is obviously 1 here, and the highest value, is obviously 11. You can see that here. And then I need to know the distance between them, and the distance between them is called the range. So I'll calculate the range after that, the range of the data, which is the highest minus the lowest, and that's equal obviously to 10. 11 minus 1 is 10. So from here I'll start calculating the class widths based on how many classes I want. So suppose I would like to have here 4 classes or 5 classes. So the second step is to find out the class widths. So for example, if I want, suppose design for 4 classes. So in this case, the number of classes, in this case, this will be my number of classes. So in this case, I need the class widths. So to calculate the class widths approximately, what do you think? The class widths approximately is equal to this range, which is 10, and then divided by the number of classes, which is 4. So I have a range of values equal to 10, and the number of classes is 4. So that's approximately about 2.5. So the class widths, we would like to have a nice number, so we round it up. We just basically go to a next little bit higher number. You round it up or go to the next number that is nice, easy number to work with. So we'll choose class widths to be equal to 3. Okay, because the data here I have are all integers. So the class width should also be something comparable to the data. So these are also integers, counting numbers. So it's going to be 3. So if it is 3, then how will be the classes? So that's now the last step actually is to start designing the class itself. The frequency distribution table that has all the classes. So number 3, now start building the table, starting with the class limits. Class limits will look like this, and then the first limit, obviously it can be equal to the lowest value, which is 1, okay, or something before 1, something to include the 1. So it's either 0 or 1. So I'll just choose 1 for now, and this will be my first class. And obviously, because the class width is 3, and remember the class widths mean the distance between classes, which means the new class will start at something 1 plus 3, which is 4. I simply added 3 here. I don't add 3 to come to the class limits. This is a common mistake. Be careful. The class width is the distance between classes, not the difference between class limits. So this class width has been used here. Okay, I'll just write this here in black color so that it's the same as this one. And then this will be the beginning of the new class, and so on. This will be also the beginning of the next class. I'll just add 3. So if I want to do the next class, it will be just add 3, so it will be 7, and then add 3, it will be 10. Okay, so now that's it, because my design is 4 classes only. Remember, my design is supposed to be only 4 classes. So I'll stop here. I should stop here, and hopefully my design is correct and discover all the data. Now let's write the upper class limits. So upper class limits will be just here 3, because you have to have, you know, a gap, and the gap here is just the same unit that you have. So from 1 to 3, anyone who have, you know, studied from 1 to 3 hours would be in the first class. Anyone who studied from 4 to 6 will be in the second, and then just keep adding 3 also. Remember, you just keep adding 3, just keep adding 3, same thing exactly. So it will be here 9, and here it will be, just keep adding 3, so it just become 12. I know someone will say, well, we don't have any 12 in the data, which is okay. We're only having the limits, which means it just needs to include the data inside. It doesn't have, you know, to have a value, you know, 12 in the data. I know the highest value is 11, which is okay. 11 is somewhere here in the middle, which is fine. I just need the first class to have the minimum value or the lowest value somewhere, and I also want the highest class or the largest class to have the maximum value or the highest value somewhere inside. It doesn't have to be the first, it doesn't have to be the last, but it has to be somewhere here. It can be the first, it can be the last, it can be in the middle, it doesn't matter. So this is my class limits in this case, and I can start now if I want to know the frequency. Then I can calculate the frequency. Okay, let's calculate the frequency here by simply counting how many in each class in my data if I want to do so. And the way to do that is just look at the data again, see how many in the first class from 1 to 3. So from 1 to 3, obviously we get this value, this value, this value also from 1 to 3, this value from 1 to 3. So I have 5 values from 1 to 3. So in this case, I just go back and write here 5. Now from 4 to 6, how many students? So let's look at from 4 to 6. I have, this is 4, 5, and 6. So I have 3 values from 4 to 6. So I have to go right here 3. And from 7 to 9, from 7 to 9 it will be, this is 7 and the 8, only 2 values. So I have here 2. And then from 10 to 12, I have 1 value here and 1 value here. So I have these couple of values. Okay, maybe I'll just put them in a different color. So I have this value, I have this one. So now I covered them all, they're all checked. I have 2 values in the last class, and just write 2 here, and that would be it. So the total data here, 5 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2, I just added those. The sum of the frequency is actually, just to make sure that I didn't make a mistake, it's good to get the sum of the frequency and just add them. So when I added them, I actually have 12, okay, which is exactly the same size of the data as I have initially. If you just look at the data up here, then there are actually 12 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's my design at the end. So again, to review what happened, I get the lowest value and then the highest value and get the difference between them. This is called a range. The second step is to divide this range by the number of classes required. This is usually given in a question. I want 4 classes, I want 5 classes, I want 10 classes. Then if I want 10 classes, then I have to divide by 10. And then this number that comes as a result should be rounded up or just increase it a little bit so that you have a nice number here. So the nice number I choose to be 3. Don't go very far, otherwise your number of classes will be wrong. So accordingly, if you do that, then you get the right number of classes, you cover all the data, and you discover the lowest value somewhere here, and the highest value somewhere here. This is the highest value, and that means your design is correct, and you have 4 classes just like required, and that's the important part. You need to have 4 classes as required so that the first class has the lowest value, and the last class has the highest value, and you still cover equal distance between classes, and you have a reasonable class widths, and you have reasonable class limits, and you don't have any big gaps between limits or anything like that. So once you do that, you start collecting the data, putting the right frequency for each class, and this will be your design. So if the question asks you what is the upper limit and the lower limit of the first class, here is the lower limit and the upper limit of the first class. You simply, after the lowest value, it will be the lower limit, and if you add the class widths and then subtract 1 to get the lower limit. Okay, the common mistake the people make here is that they just add class widths, which is 3, and they say the upper limit of the first class is 4, which is wrong. 4 is the beginning of the new class, and then the 3 should be the end of the first class. I hope this helps. If you find this video difficult, please watch it again and again.